Yeah, and a good map to start it off.
Alright, at the top left position is the orange Protoss, we have lancerx, and at the bottom right as the red Terran, we have Cryoc. Okay. So, electric circuit. What do you think? PVT, who's that favor?
I'm pretty sure this is better for the Protoss.
Why is that?
Because I said so, but apart from that, obviously. No, I mean, the main reason is because this map is very open and you have a lot of areas that you can kind of try to counterattack. The Terran is going to have a very difficult time not to get like backstabbed, and he will have to unsiege, try to reposition a lot. You can actually buy a massive amount of time just by basically moving your army around. And yes, while you're doing something like vulture harassment is very difficult for the Protoss because many of these bases are kind of far away. So at that point, it might be slightly more complex for the Protoss. But once you get to the point where you have actually a lot of tanks, you have to position them correctly, you can buy a ton of time here with your army as Protoss.
That sounds good. The one thing that concerns me, as a Protoss player on this map, is even though the map looks kind of open in the middle, you do have to be a little bit careful because there are like some narrow bridges and things that you can cross. So you do have to be a little bit aware of exactly how the map movement is. I mean, if you can just kind of look at the mini map, there's like these little gaps around the middle area. So if you're not careful, you can end up like putting yourself in a choke point for no reason. And then obviously getting a bad engagement. But otherwise, yeah, there are plenty of attack paths to go through. So you never really have to attack head on into the Terran if you don't want to.
Yeah, the main problem, I think, is because the Terran army is relatively slow considering the siege and unsiege. When the Terran is actually pushing out, if you can spot it early on, you can threaten a counter from pretty much the first quarter of the map where Cryoc is. If he tries to get out from that quarter side, then lancerx can threaten a counter for a very long time. And that usually will buy you enough time to maybe get that energy for the stasis. You know, you can get some time extra more than on other maps where the push path is very straightforward and it's more difficult to threaten that counter.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we have a double SCV scout here, interestingly, from Cryoc. Wants to make sure lancerx isn't cheesing him in any way. lancerx doesn't seem like a very cheesy player, though.
No.
So, I wouldn't be too worried. He is actually sneaking a pylon here in the back of his own base just to maybe scare Cryoc a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Cryoc, especially, he has been changing it up a little bit in the last games he played, but that was basically on maps that he had a lot of practice on. Probably Electric Circuit isn't, like, as I said, it's not a map that you play as much, for example, Fighting Spirit, so it's probably a little bit more difficult to try to do something very aggressive.
Yeah.
You have to remember the timings. You have to know exactly when your units are pretty much going to reach the opponent's base, so you can calculate, what kind of damage you want to do with the attack. And if you don't have that information because the map is different, then you're probably safer going for something more macro-oriented.
Or, you can be like, it's flat map, 10-15 gate him, easy peasy, job done. That's what I would do on this map.
I mean, yeah, because of the flat map, definitely. That's something that helps.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to see a normal FD here from Cryoc. He has continued to mine gas, though. Didn't actually pull any off to get that command center faster. Doesn't make a huge difference. It means you just have a small gas excess in the mid-game, though.
Yeah, but I think it does make quite a significant difference on when the command center is placed, right?
It's definitely going to be a little bit slower, but I don't know the timing. I don't know how many seconds you gain by pulling the guys off gas, to be honest. Maybe somebody can tell us exactly. I can't imagine it's more than 5 to 10 seconds of time.
Well, at least for now, we see that probably lancerx is trying to confirm with those dragoons that this is a normal style. Actually, I don't know if Cryoc should be doing this because there's still a very long way that you can go back with those Dragoons if you want to heal them.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely wants the pressure, but, you know, as you said, and as he's correctly doing here, he doesn't move out too far, just comes back. He didn't even make that many reads. He only had 4 in total, so it's very, very weak FD, but that does mean, you know, he gets the command center a little bit faster
And the
compared to
mines,
someone.
obviously.
Yeah, and he gets the mine position as well, exactly.
I don't like the lancerx is actually trying to move down here. Obviously, he doesn't know about the mines, but you would expect that with this kind of style, it's relatively common to go for this, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess he just went in to check. Oh man, this mine could be huge though. Oh, he sees the second one. Oh, he moves away because he saw the second one. Oh man, that would have been huge to grab those two Dragoons. A little bit unlucky there for Cryoc actually, not to grab those two, but nice try. Almost pulled the box there.
Okay, so we do have a relatively quick academy, which I gotta say I kind of like in this map. If you don't know exactly, like, it's going to be a little bit hard to scout because of how big the map is and cross positions, obviously. Getting that scan early on, it's like a thing.
Sorry, I was just looking at these stupid probes trying to transfer and just getting stuck on the gateways. I still don't understand how this happens. This actually happens in a lot of maps where you build like the square formation of gateways and pylons, and they just like do a little circle around the gateways. It's just so annoying. Anyway,
it doesn't happen in all the maps or just in some, because
it only happens on some maps that I found. Because basically I always make this formation of like pylons and gateways between my two nexuses. And some maps, they just get stuck for like forever. Like I think Destination is really bad. The probes just get stuck for a million years. Somebody's not good. Wow, scan at the back window only actually sees the Citadel being made. I mean, it's not a particularly surprising Citadel. It's fairly normal timing, but you know, that's one benefit of going for this academy first. Just get that earlier scan. He did obviously build the eBay as well, but just gonna see what's going on.
I think he also wanted to see if the Nexus was planted because that would tell him if he can expect a more arbiter early style, or because he did like have a vulture at the 12 o'clock, right? So
yeah,
that kind of tells him that okay, it's probably 2 base something. Most likely it's going to be relatively quick arbiters, and then from there a third.
Yep, that would definitely make sense. It's like the first round of Zealots is being produced here. And first Obs is actually going to kill itself. Oh, no, it's not! It's on the high ground. Nice. It actually would have been really ghosty if Cryoc noticed that and lifted his barracks for the high ground vision.
Yeah, that would be pretty good.
Actually, does that... Wait, that does provide vision, right? So even though the barracks can't see the Obs, while lifting and giving high ground vision, the turret can see it, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't actually make sense, though, does it? Right? Because the turret, technically... It's still on the low ground. Why would the barracks that can't see invisible things give it
because,
vision?
Dude, I got it. Because actually the turret can see the observer, but it cannot shoot it. Because it's on the high ground.
That doesn't... What?
Look, I mean, when you lift the barracks, then the turret actually has like a line of sight to fire, but it doesn't know exactly where the observer is. It only detects it, so it needs like line of sight.
Actually, wait, no, that actually makes sense. No, you're right. Yeah. Oh my god, that actually does make sense. Oh my god.
Yeah, once in time I can actually make sense. That's a good thing. Okay, wait. This is Arbiter Tech, but... Okay, okay, there's the Arbiter Tech. I was thinking, he has enough money for it. He's been building the tech to get to Arbiters, but he was stalling for the actual Tribunal, which was it's pretty bad, because you do want to get it as fast as possible if you're trying to do this kind of style.
Yep. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm actually going to quickly go and run and open my living room door.
Alright. Okay, so, well, because I don't know where the vision from the observer is, I'm just gonna try to check out what other things are happening, and we do see an extra 3 gateways going down for lancerx, and also, wow, actually, 3 more factories is gonna put Cryoc at, no, 4 more factories, so that's gonna put Cryoc at 8 factories.
Alright,
so
I'm back.
Okay, there you go.
Sorry, dude. I got kind of scared because my cat was like complaining at me, and I realized my living room door is closed, so she has no access to the litter box, which could cause problems.
Obviously. Okay, so I was just pointing out the amount of gateways versus the amount of factories that are coming down. Obviously, as soon as the Arbiter is out, that's not going to be as huge. But definitely, the lancerx is trying to take more bases while at the same time getting the tech. And so far, I would say that the game is actually extremely even because the supplies are 20 difference, you know, between the Terran and the Protoss.
Yep.
The tech from Cryoc, I don't see a starport. Nope, no starport. So no EMP in sight for quite a while. I hope Cryoc saw our stream of, who was it, Koget versus lancerx? You know, the 20 tanks stasis?
Yes. Yes, I think it
saw
was
that.
Koget. Yeah.
Because he's also like getting everything together in his natural.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty normal, and he's far back enough that it would be pretty crazy if lancerx actually went for it. I guess it'd be possible. It is actually kind of similar to that situation with Koget, but not a huge risk at the moment. I think lancerx looks like he's trying to poke around with his goons a little bit, clear out some space for his expansions. 12 o'clock up and running now, but it's still early days here. Yeah. Although, never mind. Cryoc actually moving out. I'm a little bit surprised by this. He's actually being aggressive already here. He does have the 8 gateway pump going though, so he's going to be reinforcing with a lot of vultures here.
He might be trying to just get an early position and then try to slowly push because, yeah, this isn't the biggest army, but it's definitely, you can definitely find locations where it's more difficult for the Protoss to push through.
The Observer is now following the Terran army, so he's going to see exactly when the siege up's coming. But there's a scan, and look at this. Now the Terran's moving up in this corridor, and see, this is what I mean. This is actually kind of a narrow corridor. You can't really flank easily from this position. Protoss has to move back a little bit, draw the Terran forward, and then get a much better engagement angle. But see, this is the annoying thing about Electric Circuit. It looks really open in the middle, but there are some little narrow bits like this that you have to be careful of.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I was wondering is, as lancerx, you can just go around this and start and attack the Terran base and basically fight with reinforcements. I mean, it's too late for that right now because obviously it's at the door, but...
Oh man, Stasis isn't done. Stasis is only like
and Speedful Zealots, I think, wasn't done it either, so...
Oh man, it's gonna be...
Maybe it's done now. It's done now, okay.
Right.
Oh! Ooh,
nice!
That's a good start. That's a very good start.
Is this buildable? How much of this is buildable ground, actually? I'm not sure. Like, can you build turrets here? I don't think you can, right?
I think next to the wall, like, to that wall from the... Yeah, next to the wall you can, but not in the middle.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, we're going in now. There's the stasis. He doesn't stasis tanks, though. Why does he stasis vultures? That doesn't make any sense. I guess he was scared because the Goliaths were shooting him. He didn't want it to die, but it looks like it might not matter. The Zealots closing with the siege tanks. The Dragoons getting stuck behind the stasis wall, but it's gonna be enough, I think. The Zealots still alive with the tanks, and that's gonna be it for the first attack from Cryoc.
Yeah, that's going to be completely cleaned out, and Cryoc is not yet taken the fourth, and it's going to be really difficult for him to try to hold it now.
Yeah, that was a very aggressive attack there from Cryoc, and I'm not convinced that was the best idea. I mean, yes, he had a lot of gateways pumping, but the position. I mean, I think he should have actually. I don't know. I mean, there wasn't that huge of a minefield.
Yeah,
he was trying to creep forward a little bit too far, maybe. Not the best attack.
Yeah, and I mean, the mines weren't there, and I mean the position wasn't actually bad. It's just the mines. That no mines at all means, well, basically the Zealots are gonna just run through the vultures. They're not even gonna try to attack them. They can just go direct to the tanks.
That's exactly right, which means Cryoc now on the back foot. He's just using his vultures to harass and buy time to allow that 6 o'clock base to come up. The Protoss obviously has this top right base already. It's not yet mining, but staying ahead of the Terran and starting to add on these additional gateways. You can see lancerx building a bit of a bank here, so he can start spamming those gateways, which is gonna make it really hard now for Cryoc to play this out.
Yeah, I mean, the main problem right now, really, as far as I see it, is that soon Cryoc is going to actually be facing recalls. Yeah. And he doesn't have an army that can threaten the Protoss so that he's afraid to recall because he might just die to the push. So, at this point, basically, lancerx is the one who's going to decide how the game is going to look like.
Yeah, and Cryoc was definitely investing a lot in that attack because I think he only has the one armory still right now, so wasn't even thinking really much in terms of the long game. I mean, yes, he's got the science facility, but he only just now starting to research EMP, so was definitely planning a lot more from that attack, which is interesting. I feel like, I don't know if it's because of the map, but Cryoc, I feel like seems more of the type of player to turtle a little bit and go for the bigger late game push. But as it stands here, Protoss army moving out, gonna clear out some mines. I think Cryoc has enough to hold on for now. He's gonna be a little bit careful with how he positions his mines and his tanks.
Yeah, I mean, he does have the vessel trying to get ready for maybe EMPing if the Arbiter tries to go to the main. And there's also a lot of mines in the third. So has some anti-recall defense, and the spread in the kind of in the entrance of his bases are also pretty good. So probably lancerx wouldn't want to attack directly head-on, but because he's taking so many bases and getting a good amount of arbiters, he's got 3 arbiters right now. It's gonna be tricky because sooner or later you're gonna have to move out, and when lancerx has enough production, which I think is about pretty much now, maybe a few more gateways, he can definitely backstab and reproduce.
Recall going in the back. Is he going to go for the main or the expansion? He might go for the expansion.
The
Recall!
And boom!
Nice.
And a lot of things died there.
Late EMP there. A nice mine field, killing a lot of the units, but a lot of Zealots do survive actually, although they're all pretty much on red health, so some Vultures coming back should be able to take care of this easy peasy.
Yeah.
Still some nice disruption though. I think did he kill all the SCVs that were there?
I mean, Cryoc is still at 181 supply, and he still has a bank, so SCVs right now aren't probably his main concern.
Yeah, the 6 o'clock base though is only defended by a tank line, but no mines and Vultures in front, although it's quite a deep tank line, so it's going to be okay.
There's actually another recall getting ready for going to exactly the same location under, at the 3 o'clock kind of.
Yep,
There's an arbiter there. Oh, it's going. But the minefield has been replaced, and okay, oh, there's no energy for EMP.
There isn't. There's another vessel with energy, but it's too far to the left. And here we go. Second recall coming in, and boom.
Oh, hey. But most take wounds. Don't know that's a good idea. We're gonna basically have less DPS. They don't screw up everything that much because they have range.
Well, it is hard for the Terran to actually hit up this ramp, though, and he's coming in with only Vultures, so the goons will do an okay job here. And again, this kind of attack, it's compared to what lancerx has in the bank, this is costing him almost nothing, so just disrupting the Terran a little bit, just keeping him on his toes, you don't want to just let him freely do whatever. While lancerx has pretty much the entire top of the map.
Yeah, and also, that's a pretty good point. If you keep doing this and basically the Terran doesn't get another base, eventually you're probably gonna mine out like 3/4 of the map.
Yep.
And the Terran is basically gonna have nothing.
Yep. Oh man, we've got fleet beacon. We've got carriers.
Do you think that's a good idea on a map like this? It's mostly flat?
Electric Circuit is not the best map for carriers. One thing that makes it nice though is that looks like a couple arbiters gonna suicide here. At the Terran's base, but it's easy for Terran units to kind of get stuck chasing them around. You can lose some units behind the side disruptors, and there are this cliff area behind the main does give you some platform to go with your carriers. Mm-hmm. But in general, I mean, it's just it's the late game PvT carrier switch. I mean, carriers are strong in general, even if the map is not necessarily the best for carriers. It's like carriers are always strong regardless.
Yeah. Although, I have to say that the only thing that I really hate about carriers is that they take so long to build.
Yeah.
That you're basically kind of saying, okay, for the next 2 minutes, pretty much, I am not actually going to have 20 or 30 of my supply.
You know what's awesome about that, though? Is that lancerx has the time because Cryoc isn't going to move out of his base. Because he's putting on all the pressure with the recalls. So Cryoc is just playing scared. I mean, Cryoc is doing, building massive amounts of defenses and stuff, and he's maxed. But look at this, he's still not sieging. I mean, this is the time to go, right? Like, if he wants to go, it should be now. But he's not going. Like, every second he waits is another second for lancerx to get the carriers going, and the command center is about to float and trying to land on top of an Nexus.
Oh. Okay. Actually sees something building and goes back.
He's like, whoops, never mind, just kidding.
The good thing is lancerx is like saying, okay, you know what? I'm just going to add another base on where you would usually take your base. So even if I'm not mining from it, at any point I can start using it.
You know, I just realized actually there are no carriers in production because he's maxed, because lancerx is maxed. So he's getting upgrades and he has the infrastructure, but he's actually not going for them yet. And here we go! Being attacked in the middle of the map. That is so many tanks! Oh my god, you're right, there's no arbiters, EMPs on the army. I don't know what lancerx is doing, he should not be fighting this at all.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, that's not good.
Not a great engagement there, but notice how even though he lost all those units, he's still at 180, and now that actually frees up the supply for the carriers to be made. So now the carrier production starts. But this is actually kind of an anti-timing, because by starting these carriers, he's locking up all the supply, as you said, exactly when the Terran is attacking. This is exactly when you don't want the supply to be locked up.
And there's another problem with this. He
He's on the
doesn't have
wrong
any
side.
arbiters at all.
Dude, he thought the Terran was going to go for the bottom left base, and the Terran's going for the top right. He went the completely wrong way. Look at his army. He's just running around on the other side. He's like, wait a minute. Is the Terran not attacking here?
Yeah, and he's going to be able to defend the 6 o'clock with those tanks that he has. So Cryoc should be able to defend that without too much trouble because it's mostly Dragoons.
Oh, man. Bit of a strategic error here from lancerx, just misreading the situation. I mean, to be fair, it might have been on purpose, actually. lancerx might have decided he can't fight the army head-on, so he's going for the counterattack. The problem is the counterattack does nothing. Look at this, the counterattack is completely stopped as well. There are some zealots there now as well, but lancerx's top right bases are completely forfeit. Interestingly, Cryoc walling himself off from the base with a tank line. But, yeah, this attack does nothing to the 6 o'clock. There are a lot more gateways being built at the bottom left, though. Look at that.
I don't get this. Like, you have such a massive lead, and you want to try to get carriers, but you're not putting any counter pressure at that time.
It's a bit awkward because how he couldn't make carriers when he was max. I think he should have gone for another recall to suicide. You know, like 40 supply of units. That way he buys time while the Terran defends the recall, and then at the same time he can build carriers. You know, it's like 2 birds with 1 stone. But he just waited with his army and didn't try and free up supply.
Well, I have to say though, to be fair, he is going to get the 2 carriers, and he still has that bottom base. So lancerx, even if he loses 2 bases here, he's not out of it. Not yet.
And he might actually save this Nexus. There's only 6 or 7 Goliaths here, and the carriers are shooting. The carriers actually don't have max interceptors yet. They're still busy building interceptors. So there's actually not enough interceptors to kill all these Goliaths. There are 3-0 Goliaths as well, and the tanks are just packing through. But now the ground army's coming in from back. The ground army coming from the back could actually decide this.
No, it's going back again.
Alright, he's going to pick off the reinforcement tanks. That's actually good too. Look at this. All these on siege tanks for free. And now the carriers...
actually attacking the bottom at the same time.
Oh my god. Cryoc going for the space. A few emergency DTs might be in order here. By the way, Cryoc has landed his command center right above the Protoss base at the bottom left.
And carriers are still being produced, and if I remember correctly, if you get like 14 to 16 carriers, it's almost impossible for the Terran to stop it, because you would have to only make Goliaths, and if you do that, then the Protoss can change to basically Zealots or Zealot Dragoon, which renders your army obsolete.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Nice little double attack here at the bottom left, cleaning up this army, and look at this. Bottom left army's cleaned up. lancerx did lose a base for it. He lost the top right bases, but he also killed a good number of units. And Cryoc now, yes, he killed basically 3 expansions, but he's also down to only 134 supply, and lancerx is at 180. And now the Terran, even though he killed the bases, without that big backbone of tanks, without the army, there's nothing he can do. He can't take another base.
Yeah, and not enough Goliaths to deal with the carriers anyway, and actually the carriers are going to engage just the tanks. Oh
god.
Oh, that's going to be
the Goliaths fought the ground army, and the tanks fought the air army. It's like the exact opposite of what you want.
That's Cryoc, because
that's
Cryoc. That's what you want. Yeah, that had to be it. There was no way. GG. I gotta commend Cryoc though. He did make a pretty good game out of it.
Wow. Wow, lancerx. I thought he might have made the biggest mistake there when he took that bad engagement in the middle of the
Yeah.
map. But it's like it was enough.
I mean, I guess that when you have that many bases, you can actually lose 2 of them and still kind of fight. But that game went a lot closer than I believe it should have been because of that small problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if he just kept making arbiters, he could stasis that entire army. So there would, like nothing really would bother him.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if he just lost track of the arbiters because he had those 2 that suicided in the main base, and maybe he thought they were with his army or something for that big engagement. So, yeah.
No, I mean, at the time when he was making carriers, he didn't have a single arbiter. So,
Well, looks like it didn't matter in the end, and
yeah.
we'll see if he's learned from that here for the second map, which is Aztec.
Okay.
Now,
Pretty...
Aztec I think is fine, except for the fact that the natural has the... What the... Sorry, my cat just like freaked out and came over here. Alright. So what was I saying? Oh my god, I completely lost my train of thought. The natural is siegeable. It's like Lost Temple, alright? It's like Lost Temple. That's it.
I mean, I think this map favors shuttle bombing and basically starting with something that has like a few zealots in the shuttle just in case. Maybe for that small cliff, also because there are a lot of different ramps in this map, so might be helpful. Might be helpful to at least from the Protoss side go for something like that.
So with that, let us just go into the game.
All right, let's go.
And yeah.